No, don't wait.
Wait, our stream is screwing up already.
Hi everyone, and welcome to our weekly Wednesday stream. I'm Tim Von Rieden, and I'm joined by
Me, Sean Price.
and also Key will be joining us, known Gawky online, in just a bit. She's finishing up, and today's gonna be a little different for the new year. Oops, I have my audio on Twitch. There we go. Today I wanted to share with you guys a slightly different stream. I wanted it to be more of a sharing of people that inspire me and art that really has a hand in the way I create my work and the way that I am influenced in my own work. And I think it's good that we should always broaden our horizons on what artists we follow and what type of art that should influence our work. I think a lot of people would assume that I follow a lot of realism and a lot of graphite traditional artists, but as you'll see in what I chose as my top 9, there's only one that actually works traditionally with graphite. And I think that says a lot about how I take a variety of artists that influence me. And the one thing that I did is I wrote down adjectives that describe each artist. And the one that came up often was strange. And I'll get into that when I give my top 9 influences. But as I like to always start these streams, we ask that you put where you're watching from. Then we'll do the shout outs as people are still joining in. And then we'll go ahead and get started. I still have to edit the Twitch name. Hold on.
Whoops. Wait, what are we doing? What do you mean?
We gotta wait for people to put where they're watching from.
Oh, okay.
And then I know a lot of you mentioned that this is your first time here, so hello, welcome to the stream. I hope you guys enjoy it. Today is a little different. Normally we do drawing demos, sometimes tutorials. A lot of times we're changing the Wednesday live stream format to just be more fun and for you guys to draw with us. Every now and then I'll still do a tutorial, like a step-by-step how to draw a hand, but I liked it to be more casual nowadays. And if I do a solo stream on like Thursday through Tuesday, those will probably be a little more step-by-step, but our Wednesday ones we like to keep a little more fun, as Sean likes to say. Yeah, and that's what our goal is. All right, so why don't we... Oh, and if you guys are new to the stream, or if you have any questions or comments that you would like us to read out loud, please put @vonnart before your comment or question. That way we can see it between looking at... Well, actually, now we have a second monitor, so we can see it a lot more clearly. Oh, yeah, but it still would help out if you put @vonnart before. Yeah. And why 9? 9's my favorite number, so selfishly I chose 9. John Miller says, hi from Indiana.
I can't see because the pole's in the way.
Smoochie says, what are you talking about?
This thing's in the way, so it's like...
Oh, we'll have to fix that for next week.
Well, putting all the focus on you.
Smoochie says...
move it for you.
Smoochie says, yay, hi Tim and your friend next to you. This is my friend Sean Price.
Hi, how's it going?
He's pretty great at art too. I would check him out.
So whatever.
Mr. Tattoo.
Yeah.
Fem says, hey, with Tim and Sean. Hello. 10 seems overkill, don't you think? Yeah. Michael says hello from the UK. Albert, I'm going to have this up. Oh, and for those of you who might be wondering why I'm saying names instead of the usernames, if you guys have, if you come to the streams frequently and you want me or Sean to pronounce your name instead of the username, because oftentimes we'll mispronounce it and it sounds horrible, let us know and we'll put it on the list that we have here, and that way we'll help memorize your names as we see them. So Al says hello from Peru. Peru. Can you read them at all, or do you want me to just...
No, I could see them. This thing's just kind of in the way. Then we got Phantom September says hello from Finland.
JMJ Forever 20 from Florida.
Adrian says hi from Maryland.
Sketch, or that's Nikita, says hello from Canada.
Mitten, do we have one for Mitten? Or no, we don't. Nope.
And Ashley told me that's not even Mitten, it's Mitten or something different. But I always say Mitten, so I hope you're okay with that.
Sorry. Mitten says hello from Seabus, Ohio. Good time. Columbus.
Nikum from Milwaukee.
Light and C says hi from work. By the way, you can call me Jim.
I was wondering if you would give us your real name, because you do come to the streams.
Come very often. While you're doing that, Auxilian says hello from Italy. Jopo.
No, that's Renato. That one I remember.
All right, Renato. Jopo says hi from the Netherlands.
Caroline says hello from Iowa.
Do we have the Far Cry on there?
Nope.
Nope. All right. Far Cry says hi from Ohio.
Spongy from Dublin, Ohio.
Carla or Carlo says hi from Mexico.
Winter Days from Taiwan.
I am not.
Not.
Yeah. It says hello from Sweden.
I'm glad you're not super sick anymore. It's been a while. I would hope it wouldn't last that long. Ellie from Florida. Snow flurries here today. Oh, that's bizarre.
Lars from Germany.
Maria from Michigan. Hey, Maria. How are you doing?
What's this one next? Urban Drawer. I kind of try, like.
How do you lose your place?
Because this thing's in the way. It's screwing me up. Here, wait. I'm putting these. Go for it. Just
Okay,
go.
I'll knock these out. No. Urban says flipping between 3 different streams, making out the separate voices getting a tad hard. Oh, I bet. Grace from Texas, Holly from England, Luna from Germany, Fem from Belgium as usual. Urban says, oh, neat, another Finn. Yeah, we got 2 Finns today. Kai from New Jersey. Hey. Katie
Why do you
from Salt Lake.
Well, hello.
Smoochie says, hello, Tim. I'm from Slovenia. The First Lady of USA is here from where I am from. Hopefully I can visit one day so I can paint that amazing Grand Canyon. To be honest, I haven't even seen the Grand Canyon, and I've lived here my whole life. So, oh, we will this year when we go to Colorado. Well, hopefully we'll go see it.
Where are we going?
Colorado.
The Grand Canyon?
I assume we can make a little trip around to see the Grand Canyon. Why not?
I mean, the Grand Canyon, isn't it like way far down?
I think it's more west than Colorado, so we'd have to go out more and then come back.
It's like southwest.
Yeah. Maria from Finland as always. What a surprise. And Nat says I'll stick with Not. I agree. I like that one, Nat.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And Melpa from Minneapolis. Hey, Melpa, how are you doing? Oh, you're in for a surprise today. Just you wait. Gian Kuma from Italy. And Elegant Elephant from the Toronto Zoo.
The Eloquent.
That is one high-class zoo from the name of
elephant.
it. Okay, so like I said earlier, today's going to be a little different. We're not going to be doing a drawing demo today. We're basically going to be sharing our top influencers of 2017.
The elephant knows how to use a computer. The eloquent elephant.
I mean, I watched an elephant paint in person 2 years ago, so it was only a matter of time before they could use the internet.
I found out how to use the computer.
So anyways, me, Sean, and Key each have 9 artists that we're going to share with you today.
By the way, this sunlight is not doing us any favors.
I'm okay with it.
It's like going in my eye, so maybe that's why I can't see.
Okay,
Perfect.
So their only announcements that we have today is we have a roommate stream next week. So starting at 12 p.m., so noon Central Time, we're going to have all 7 of us do a half-hour drawing, and it's going to be a random shape challenge. So that one should be a good time, and you'll get to meet all my roommates if you're not already familiar. I am working on my own Patreon, which will be launching February 1st. And essentially, I don't want to show it to you guys yet, but I started on my swordplay novel finally. So you guys, I know I've been like teasing it for so long, but I'm actually trying to make an effort to make it happen.
You made it.
We have a community Discord, and that you can join below. We do weekly challenges. We have one going on right now that's ran by the roommate Tyler, Sketch Geek, and it is an environment one, which none of us want to do. I know how that feels. And I think it's good to make an effort to do things outside of our comfort zone. So tonight I will be doing some environment sketches.
It was really great. Like Tyler was like, I just really want to do something challenging. He's actually taking the word challenge.
Yeah. I'm like, I want to do a girl with flowers. Like that's
draw
you want to do unicorn.
I'll draw a bug, like
real challenges.
Tyler's like, draw a shapular architect.
Do something none of you like to do. He is right. That's a real challenge. But anyways, you can join that along with finding other resources, other forms of critique. You can find essentially other artists that are on the same path that we are. So hopefully you can find some use from that. Okay, so I think, is that all I have? That's all the announcements I have, so we can get into it. Like I said, if you guys have any comments or questions, please feel free to ask. I'm going to be sharing all of the Instagram links. So as I'm going through all these artists, these are their Instagram handles that you can go ahead and follow for yourself if their art is intriguing you as well.
I have a cheeky Etsy Etsy announcement.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So on my Etsy, so for the whole month, you get 18% off for 2018.
What a deal.
It is. It is a deal.
I agree.
It's basically free shipping.
I like the honesty.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. Someone did an order this morning, and I was like, oh, they just took out shipping. So,
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, you get 18% off for 2018. My Etsy, I don't think, is connected to this thing right here. I'm just going to... Can I just type it in the thing?
Yes, I would want you to do it, but I don't know if that would screw up. Oh, yeah, here we go. What's your Etsy shop? Art of Price?
Art of Price, yeah. So, yeah, if you guys get a chance to check it out, I really appreciate it.
Okay.
There we go.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's do this. So, these are in no particular order, and I am going to be sharing a few images along with... Actually, Sean and Key are both doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to be like, this is my number 1, this is my number 9. There really is no order. It's just 9 artists that have influenced me over the year. So the first one that I have is Crayola, or Greg Simpkins. And some of you may know of his art already. I feel like I don't know where I've been for the past 5 years of his work span. It is brilliant. And I actually saw this lemon on a magazine cover, but I didn't really discover his work till this year. So this is why Greg is on my list. And for each artist, I try to write down a few things that came to my mind right away without me having to think about it. What were the adjectives that I would use to describe this artist? And for Crayola, I put detailing, texture, rendering, color, and strange. So for me, he encompasses a lot of what I think an artist that I want to be someday represents. And
I
it's
like those bugs.
I love
The ladybugs.
everything about it.
I mean, it's amazing.
It's like not only is he a great rendering artist and you can see the time and effort and energy poured into it, but it's also a strange concept, and he works with texture and realism in a very abstract way. And I appreciate that so much about him. And his color choices always seem to be very unified. And I bought his book that he just created recently, and it is gorgeous.
I still haven't gone through it.
And well, what's funny about Greg is, well, you know this too. He started as a tattoo artist.
He's a graffiti artist.
Or sorry, a graffiti artist. Mm-hmm. And a lot of his work back when he was doing that, you could see some of it in his paintings nowadays. It's a lot of these like big swirly shape type patterns. And I feel like it's because of the motions that he would do with his graffiti work.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you could see a change in his graffiti when it was just like lettering, and then when he started to incorporate characters and started adding more of a dimension to it, you could kind of see the spark of what would be to come from his work later on. And what's also cool about him is he's a traditional painter, so a lot of his colors and a lot of the choices that he makes, it feels digital in how bold or how saturated they are, but it's all traditional. And you guys should definitely go follow him. He does almost daily updates on his Instagram story feed, where he's either showing the process or showing like a bird from start to finish. And he is definitely one of my favorite artists of the year.
I don't know if he's like, that's the thing, like I don't know how fast he is. He must be really fast though when it comes to, because you got to think those bird paintings he's been doing, they look at least like this big, so they got to be at least what, like 7 by 7,
have you not
like
seen how big his paintings
or something? No, I know how big his epic paintings are and everything like that.
No,
but like
just
the
all
ones
of them.
They're huge.
They're huge.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, do I not have? I'll have to find.
But I think he like knocks them out though, like really quickly.
74 by 50 inches. That's over 4. Oh, that's huge.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, Greg is definitely one of those that have influenced my color work earlier last year, and I still see him as a source of inspiration today. So that's why he is the first one that came to mind. All right, moving forward, we have, I know it's probably Ching Ye, but I've always said Chingy. So for Chingy, I found him in the middle of the year, and it was through just the Instagram search engine. And I am in love with artists that do these kind of works where it's exaggerated form, it's very heavy on shape language. And for him, I wrote down creativity, shape language, and strange. So once again, you can see the reoccurring strange aspect. And I think I'm just attracted to things that are new to me or things that I haven't seen before. And I can just tell I am enveloped by artists that do that. I want to create something that no one has seen before.
I feel like am I sitting too close?
No, you're not sitting close enough.
Oh, I'm not sitting close enough.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not even in my lap yet. And with Chingy, not only does he have a good sense of spatial recognition, but then the shapes themselves, I feel like, are strong on their own. And then when you put them all together, it creates this very interesting pattern for your eye to follow. And I love that in work. I know that I don't do that enough. I know a lot of the poses I do are very stiff, and a lot of the shapes that I use are more constrained or a little rounder. And I like artists that are just like, F it, I'm just going to have very sharp, big, angular things. And we have another artist on here coming up soon who's probably my favorite artist of last year. And he really is one of the boldest artists I have ever found. Actually, I think he is the boldest artist I've ever found. And I am so intrigued by that, and I kind of want to push my own work in that direction. So if you guys kind of like this style of work where they have kind of Digimon proportions, super long arms, very small torsos, and then has a very heavy
War Greymon
sense of any of them. Myotismon. I mean, I could go down the list of all the...
They really do, actually. Never noticed it.
Devimon,
like,
Angemon.
Huge,
yeah, they have
like
really long arms that are
yeah.
basically touching the ground,
Yeah.
but their bodies are super long. You know what? I feel like that has influenced not only me, but a lot of artists that I see that are around my age.
Yeah.
I always wonder, like, where did that influence come from? Or, like, I guess Gundam or what's that, Evangelion.
Yeah.
Kind of has that same feel to it.
Oh. Smoochie has a question.
Smoochie says, is shipping from Etsy international? If so, you have sketchbooks. I see you have sketchbooks on there. Sorry.
Yeah.
Man, it's hard for me to read from over
Right,
there.
it's this.
Yeah, I think you're right. The sun is worse
Yeah.
than I thought before. Yes, I would definitely ship internationally.
I didn't get my hat.
And you can find that on Etsy.
My hat will make a difference.
And the links below for that. Yes, a lot of Evangelion feels. I agree. Okay, so Chingy's great. I would definitely go follow him. He is one of those artists that I don't feel has enough followers for the quality of work that he outputs. So please give him a follow because I find his work so inspirational, and I think you guys might too. All right, moving on to the next, we have Zen Chin. I believe that's how you pronounce it. And Zen is actually an artist that one of my good friends, Deandra, who helped run Drawtober last year, has been following for a long time. But it wasn't until this year that I really started looking into their work. And first thing that I wrote down was strange. And obviously that it's going to be... Ooh, I thought I turned my phone off. It's my friend Goober Musini. She knows I stream at this time. What is she doing?
Professionalism. That's fine.
Right? I wrote down strange, and the next thing I just wrote down was soft pastel color contrast. And what I mean by that is her use of color is usually something formatted for a softer subject matter, something more pretty, if you want to call it that. But her stuff definitely borders on it being dark and almost grotesque or mysterious, but the color choices are almost like Easter egg colors. And I am so entranced not only by that, but the story that I make up in my head when I see her images or their images. I don't know if it's a girl or a guy, it doesn't really matter. But the little demons that they usually create in their pieces, they're always doing something that is not interacting with the main subject matter, and they usually have like them painting each other's faces, and I find that really intriguing too. And it's almost like when I look at it, I'm transported into this scene, into this world that is unbeknownst to me, and I create my own story. And I think, though, kind of like what I mentioned last week on the stream, those are the kind of artists I really enjoy. The ones that I feel like have a creative story technical or aspect to it, along with a technically strong execution in the actual piece. And if you can have a combination of both of those, I think that's where the art that I really enjoy shines strong.
Real quick before that, Frosty Fur says, "Hey guys, sorry, I gotta ask a quick update on the Drawtober badges. Not that I'm impatient, it's just I'm a little afraid that they might be lost. Anyways, I love the variety of these streams and the effort you put into making them interesting. Keep them coming."
Well, thank you, Frosty. Key and I will be doing a big batch probably next week. We haven't sent any of them out just because we've been hoarding all the ones that we've been finishing, and we kind of want to do it in like one or like big pushes. So next week we will get the first batch out, and then we'll keep updating you guys on when the new ones will come out. You know what's funny is I just made the business cards for Drawtober this year, and it's funny thinking that we have to start planning because I don't think, well, maybe I will share with you guys the process of what it takes to create Drawtober. We are actually starting in March.
You want me to get you?
No, I'll just use my shirt. Usually we have to create the prompts really early so that not only can we get a bunch of things set in place, but then when we make calendars, when we start to prep for our own drawings, and then when we start essentially making the marketing for it, we want to have a lot of stuff done, obviously, way before October. And that's something that I guess I would share with you guys. So if you're interested in joining Drawtober, you'll find it at Drawtober on Instagram. And we're definitely excited to get that going this year. Well, me and Key have already planned on not traveling to another country in October. So what we do plan on doing is probably having more live streams, more interactive stuff per day, and make it more of a fun month rather than it feeling rushed, or at least it felt rushed for us, and we don't want that for Drawtober this year. Okay, Adrian says, I found Xing Ye recently on ArtStation 2. Well, thank you, Smoochie, for following, by the way. And Smoochie says, oh, thanks. No, I made a mistake there. My English isn't that great. I meant I, not if. Silly me. And shipping, not shipping. It's okay. Oh, and thank you, Desert Inari, for following. Oh, yeah, we took the cauldron out. I need to make a new cauldron for the bits because then whenever someone follows, we get a cool little explosion.
Oh, yeah, we did take it out.
Yeah, for today, we took it out. Keep it a little more professional, I guess. Still got the wheel.
It's like my favorite. It's like, dude.
Melpa says Zen is kind of like a modern Hans Belmer. Belmer. I don't know who that is. I might have to write that down.
Hans Belmer?
I've never heard that before.
I think it's more of a classical painter, maybe. I'm assuming. I don't know.
I'll have to look it up.
I'm very bad when it comes to that stuff.
Adrian says, I saw the top painting by Zenshin on DA. It's so bizarre and beautiful. I couldn't agree more. That's a great way to describe it. Bizarre and beautiful. Okay, so moving on. Oops. There we go. So Robbie Trevino is probably my favorite artist of last year and could potentially be my favorite artist of all time, or make my favorite artist of all time list. So when I see Robbie's work, he's the only one I wrote in caps bold. I have never seen a more bold direction artist in my life. His concepts are so bizarre and weird and strong. It's not like they're just weird for the sake of being weird. I feel like there is a purpose behind the shapes that he's playing down, and it literally is something I've never seen almost every time he posts anything on Instagram. And to me, that is a creative artist that I don't want to say is actually an artist because I feel like that's insulting. But in terms of really pushing someone's own work to not just be the same type of feeling each time, that I feel I get wrapped up into a lot, where I feel like I'm posting similar pieces. They might be slightly different, but for the most part, they're following the same beats. But with his, I just feel like they're different shapes, they're different concepts, they're different characters every time. And the other things that I wrote down for him were strong and strange. So if this is your type of art where it's something that you've probably never seen before, and with each piece it'll probably be something that you've never seen before, I would definitely go recommend checking him out. He's definitely one of those artists that just popped out of nowhere on my search, and I have been enamored with his stuff ever since. And he kind of makes me look at my own art subjectively, and I think an artist that's able to do that to another artist, that's a great sign, because then that means that artist has such a pull or such an influence on something that really connects with another person. And I really connect with his work. And you guys might be thinking, well, why do you connect to these weird meat shapular characters? But it's because I am transported. I feel like it's a fresh breath air in a lot of art that just seems to be so mundane or so recycled nowadays. And his art does not feel like that to me. It feels so fresh, and I'm like inviting it with warm welcome arms, and I want to see more from him. And I want hopefully you guys to follow him too, because he's another one of those artists that I don't think gets enough representation on social media. Not says, it almost seems like you have a surreal thing almost. I do. And I think it's always interesting when I talk to people about my favorite artists, they usually will assume it's realism or it's traditional graphite. And I definitely respect a lot of those artists. And, you know, Alan and Miles would still be on my top favorite artists ever. But I think it's because they have such a direct influence on my stuff because of how similar we work and how similar I think I look at their stuff and I feel connected to it in a very personal sense. But then I look at this kind of stuff and I am inspired and I am motivated, you know?
You know, that's why I like this when you told me what the actual subject was of the stream.
Oh yeah, Sean thought it was your top 9 influences ever, and I was like, nah, no, of last year.
I screwed up. But it was cool because then I went back and the ones that I did follow and the ones that I kept going back to, it was like why. Like I had to think like why I went back to them and like just what they kind of like why they inspired me in that way. And it was just cool to be like oh cool, like it, I don't know. It was just like a good way of just like how like your year kind of shaped out like your artwork essentially.
Yeah.
In a way.
No, it's very true. And I think you might surprise yourself if you like look through, if you guys do the Instagram where you like save to your collections, if you just scroll through, you might be surprised by what kind of art you're saving as a collective whole. I realize a lot of the art that I like is just very bizarre, weird things. It's not these, what's that called when it's realism or painting with strokes.
Ella Prima?
Yeah, it's not that kind of artwork, even though like a year or two ago, that's all I was into. But now, not so much. And I think as you evolve as a person, obviously your taste and your art styles that you enjoy will evolve with it. So I guess something to point out as I keep moving through this list. Let me answer a few questions here before we get going. Max says, doesn't look like I'll be able to make the streams this quarter thanks to classes. I'm grateful for the mailbox idea you posted in Discord last month. That way those of us with conflicts can get our questions in. I'll be lurking in the workroom to make up for my absences. Can't wait to catch the stream on YouTube.
They've been so
I don't know if
active,
this will be on YouTube. I am fighting it. Like I said, I keep saying each week.
Max has been super active in the Discord, by the way. So
I know.
It's cool seeing you.
I love seeing your pieces too. I feel they're very over the top ambitious, and I want to see you keep pushing them. So yeah, I will hopefully be able to upload these to YouTube soon, but I'll keep you guys updated. Melpa says, Belmer is a German artist from the 30s, really disturbed. Wait, I think I know who this is.
Do you? Belmer. No, Melmer.
Oh, nope, never mind. I have never seen this artist. Oh my gosh, this is great.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Melpa. Oh, I'm going to have to look at these afterwards.
Yeah, these are awesome.
Oh, those are great. Adrian says, Robbie's art looks incredible. I love the shapes, color, and surreal aspect. Absolutely. I'm right there with you. Okay. So, I'm going to keep moving on, though. There's the blocker.
Keep on going.
Oops. There we go. All right, next on the list is Max Verhin, or Viren. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. But Max is an interesting case. He was someone that I actually found like 4 or 5 years ago with this pumpkin image you see in the lower right. And I used that as an inspiration for the pumpkin tutorial I created on CG Cookie way back. But I didn't know who the artist was. I just really liked this pumpkin image that I found on a Google search. So then last year, it was interesting that I found his Instagram and I like saw the pumpkin when I scrolled through, and I was surprised, I was delighted. But more so than anything, his recent works are traditional graphite, at least I believe they are. It could be digital and he's just fooling me. He's doing it on iPad Pro or something. But he's the only one out of this whole list that's doing traditional graphite stuff. And I like, with his work, I would put Fearless next to him. His stuff is not pretty. It is rendered really pretty, but his subject matters are always kind of disturbing. And it intrigues me because I think fear is an emotion that people avoid too often nowadays, but I think it's good to have reactions to stuff that isn't just pleasant or happy. Or I think the safe ones, for me, are sad. And I think Sean would say angry. But I think fear is one that we should explore more often. I think that's why I love Drawtober so much, because then you can create these kind of spooky, macabre, maybe a little more gory, maybe a little more frightful, and they're intriguing to people because we don't see it much anymore. And even with like Disney movies, I remember my mom keeps saying we can't take my nieces to a new Pixar or Disney film because of how scary it might be. And I'm thinking, like, I grew up with Secret of Nim and all these kind of deeply scary movies for a kid to not even comprehend, but to watch. And even Beauty and the Beast.
Tell me that like Pinocchio 2 or something like that was like.
Oh yeah, Pinocchio and the Emperor of the Night is the scariest kids movie I have ever seen, and no one's seen it.
They had the one thing to where it was the one with Mickey, and he's all like doing magic, or he's like fighting there's
Fantasia.
There's Fantasia, but then there's like the devil in that or something. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's super creepy. Even Dumbo. I think people underestimate how scary movies used to be to kids because a lot of times they would put in like surreal aspects that how are we supposed to comprehend that besides just being terrified? Or even, I would even say Bambi. The music that they would play in Bambi, the orchestral scores, they really built up your attention. And then like the colors would be flashing at you, especially during the fight scenes. I don't know. I could go on this because I keep telling my mom, like, in Simba, Scar kills Mufasa and blames it on the child. And then Simba has to run away believing he killed his own father, only to come back to have to kill his uncle. I just feel like there's so many things nowadays that are lost. Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And kids nowadays, I think they should be scared to some extent. Obviously, they shouldn't be watching The Shining when they're 4, but
do it.
I feel like
do it. Watch
Coco.
If you're 4 and you're watching this, watch The Shining.
No, please don't. Okay, moving on. Well, no, I did want to say for Max, though, I did write texture, detail, rendering, and strange. So obviously I have a thing for either something being super abstract or for rendered really cleanly or rendered in a way that is impressive on a technical level. And I feel like Max hits both of the detailed texture rendering heavy plus weird concepts. So he's definitely an artist I'm on the lookout for.
Melpa's gotta go.
Oh, bye, Melpa.
Bye, Melpa.
You should definitely watch the stream later for Sean's Top 9 for a good surprise for you.
Melpa coming on the 6th?
We don't know yet.
We gotta figure it out. She just
Melpa, we'll contact you
to
to see if we can make that happen still.
It's the whole thing, but I found out when she was leaving and all that
Maria
stuff.
says Shining is the best. I like Shining a lot. I think it's a good horror movie.
Good.
Adrian says, I love Secret of Nim when I was a kid. So do I. I still like it. I wish more kid-oriented movies had color palettes like they did in the late 80s, early 90s. I mean, Disney started to wean more toward a colorful palette in the 90s, but pre-90s, I loved the color palettes of movies. And I was showing Sean, if you look at the Beauty and the Beast in its original theatrical release versus its DVD and then Blu-ray release, the colors go from amazing to okay to and it bothers me because I don't want Belle's gown to go from this deep goldenrod gold color to
now
urine yellow,
crazy,
to neon in your face yellow,
dehydrated pea yellow.
It bothers me. Anyways, I feel like that's a tangent. I could go off on that just because of how much that bothers me. But anyways, moving forward, we have, I believe it's Aw and Q. I know that's probably way off, and I know that they have a real name, but I'm not sure what that is.
Aw and Q.
But they are an artist that when I wrote down my little adjectives, I wrote down color, ethereal, and movement. So when I look at their art, they're definitely an artist that I feel like developed like earlier last year and have been really on a strong string ever since. I followed them, I think, a year or two ago, but they weren't really on my radar of like artists that I would look out for. But this last year, they have been surprising me more and more, and I feel like each piece gets stronger and stronger because their use of color is unique. In a art world full of very bold color choices, or especially the saturated ones in animated type artists, I feel like she uses these softer, bold colors in a way that is new and it's refreshing. Similar to the way that Zen uses pastel colors, I feel like Aw has been doing the same thing and doing it in a very low contrasted way that is very intriguing to me. So this is an artist that I would definitely check out if you are a digital artist or are interested in color theory. I feel like they encompass both of that very well. And I'm telling you, each piece seems to get better and better and better.
The top one is beautiful with the red.
The top right one, I know.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, look how bold that is. But when you really look at the colors, it's not that saturated. Actually, you know what? I could do really quick for you guys. Why don't we just see?
Let's see how saturated.
Look how low contrasted this image is. There are no whites, there are no blacks, and it's a very, I would say, small range. The darkest are the parts around his hair and his shoes.
Yeah.
But then if I cancel it, you would think that the darkest parts would be up here or even maybe there.
Right there, yeah.
But it's almost like a visual trick. And I almost like how loose their brushstrokes are without it feeling loose. But when you zoom in and you look at any of their pieces, you can tell that they're just moving along. They're enjoying their process, or at least it feels like they are. And that's something that's, I don't know, refreshing to me, considering I feel like sometimes my process is painful. And seeing an artist that just feels so relaxed and still creates this quality to their work, it's refreshing.
Tell me about it.
I feel like, yeah, both of Sean and I struggle with that a little bit. I feel like I've gotten a little better the past 3 months at letting myself explore more and more pieces. Sean's just tighter and tighter.
Yeah.
Oh boy, let me see here. Not says, I made a sort of breakdown influence chart last year, so it's not the same as you are doing today, but similar. I looked at my favorites and asked myself which pieces I would have liked to have made myself. And once I put them all together on the chart, I quickly saw some patterns. So that helped me steer my own stuff in a direction that made me more pleased with my own pieces. I still look at the chart every now and then to remind myself. That is great.
Yeah, it's like an awesome idea.
That's honestly kind of why we're doing the stream today, is to look at what your influences have been recently and really take a mirror to yourself and your own work and be like, am I actually being inspired, or is the things that are inspiring me being reflected in my own art? And if you're unhappy with your art, maybe it's because you're not reflecting the art that does make you happy from other people. And that's not to say that you should just copy them, but you said it best. Find the pattern between all these images and use that pattern in your work. That doesn't mean you have to copy the subject matter or do the same thing that these other artists are doing. And I think that's a great path to go on. Not also says, I'm not sure about lowering saturation like you did there is a fake result. The black color layer was way is different and more correct. I saw a video about that. Photoshop treats saturation differently depending on how you change it. Kind of. I know that with the layers, you can definitely get a different result too. But when I did my color tutorial, I learned a lot about how digitally color is way different than traditional. I think that's why even having two different color wheels, the traditional color wheel versus a modern one, because digitally, and if you're going to be working with print, cyan and red are actually opposite complementary colors, because when you mix them together, it creates a pure neutral gray. But that's not true with traditional mediums. And I think it's good to know the difference. But I think when you lower the saturation on a Photoshop image, you can still see the contrast of where the lower values are versus the higher values. It'll be slightly different because of that bell curve in levels, but for the most part, the area on his shoe and the hair is actually the darkest value in the piece compared to his wardrobe. JMJ Fever says, oh my gosh, I adore her. Her Sanctus series is so beautiful. I agree. I am looking forward to see what they do next. Okay. Oh, Nat says, if you want, I can link the chart. Yeah, I would love that, actually. I feel like if I say no, why would I limit myself from exploring new artists or seeing new artists? I don't know what I'm inspired by. I feel like...
Well, even to figure out your patterns of what you like.
Yeah.
Like what you like, what you don't like, and everything, I feel like can tell you a lot about maybe how your art is shaping up that you haven't noticed before. Maybe you had this this idea to where you're just like, oh man, like I want my art to look like this, or I'm influenced by these people and everything. But then all of a sudden you start doing that, and you're like, oh no, like what am I doing?
I'm just gonna open this up really quick because I found a quote that Spectrum posted recently.
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta deal with my music for a second.
It's a good one.
Okay, but the quote read, okay, if you think about it enough to have a really articulate answer, you're not doing it right. That's how I feel about art. If your thought process could take you to knowing exactly what you're doing and why, there would be no point in making the art. It would just become like propaganda. It's more nebulous than that. And I love that idea so much because I think I try to control my process or the way I create art or what art I should create, when really true art, in the whatever sense, it just happens naturally and it forms organically. You can't control when it happens. You can put yourself in scenarios that would make it easier for that stuff to happen, for inspiration to hit. But I think having it be more meticulous or more controlled is actually the wrong way to look at it. So when I do art, I'm definitely open to trying new things and figuring out what about my style is evolving and evolve with it. And I don't want to hinder myself. Okay. Next artist on the list. Sorry, like I said, these are the type of streams I feel like I can just go. Sean thinks he's a good talker, but I think I'm a good talker when I get excited about something.
I don't think I'm a good talker. I am a good talker. Jeez,
That's
you're just
true.
not allowing me to talk right now, and I'm screaming in my head.
Cheers.
No,
Okay.
it's the Tim show today. We'll just do this one.
We got 2 hours.
Of Tim.
Next, we have Costa Dvorsky. Now, Costa is another one where I found this image with the girl on the swing like 2 years ago, I believe. But I didn't really explore who did it.
We have a producer saying it's already been 40 minutes.
I got to pick it up. Thankfully, this isn't the Oscars. We don't have a set end time. So the image on the right has always intrigued me, but I never saw any other of Costa's stuff until this year. So I followed them, and man, was I blown away. Costa is at least for last year, was my favorite painter, my favorite application of paint to a canvas. All of his stuff feels, I don't want to say wet.
Kind of, you know.
Kind of.
It is, yeah. It just looks like if you were to touch it, like
I want a better adjective than that. Palpable? That feels more
palpable.
This feels better than wet. But when I look at his stuff, it has a life to it. There we go. It has a life to it that is captured in the chunkiness of his paint.
How do you get it so wet, dude?
Yeah, right, with tattoos. But I find his stuff incredible. I have been trying to recreate his look of painting pretty much all last year, and I couldn't quite capture it. And I think because I was forcing it too hard.
Fresh, tangible, any of those?
Fresh is not so much fresh, because if you look at his subject matter, usually it's something that is relatable or recognizable instantly. I mean, the left image I like more because the head is more in motion. It almost looks like a plague nurse mask. But his use of colors, and man, there's just such a confidence and blockiness to his stuff. This is more El Prima painting, I guess.
Yeah, in parts. It's like
parts.
It's like way more rendered in a way, but it still has that feeling, which is really strange. And it almost like it's like a weird like half dry, half wet type of brush thing. Yeah, because you can see like his dry marks that he makes, but then.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah,
I think his strength lies in the fact that he can lay and block down colors very strongly, and he can also render things very strongly without losing that initial feeling you get when you look at his stuff. Because if you look at the left image, and there's definitely a lot more brushstrokes that are left open or unrendered, and you compare that to his bottom right with the girl and her back, and everything is very much rendered within the body, but it still feels like it's blocks of color. And that's something that I've been trying to achieve with my stuff.
Color. If you look here at the arm,
right,
like right there, yeah. I mean, that's just like that. Almost looks like just one block of color, and just like. Boom,
and you know what's funny though?
And this
is basically he's recreating what Renaissance artists or artists back in the day that when you look close up at their stuff, it's kind of visual. What did someone call it? It's like visual garbage. But then when you pull back, it creates the scene and everything within it, and it feels perfectly rendered. Yeah, but when you go really close, it just feels like a bunch of loose brushstrokes randomly placed on a canvas. And I think that's a real technical mastery that I know I'm not at with the way I work with color and render digitally. And I think that's why I had such frustration with digital, because obviously I like rendering. It's something that I've been comfortable with admitting, and I still want to have the feeling though of the blocks of color and the use of color, and that's something that I struggle with. But I think Costa is a good reminder to keep pushing it. You can have both in that sense, and that's definitely why he's on my list.
Someone says it's like buttery.
Buttery. That is
buttery's a good
best word that you could have said. Buttery.
Buttery.
Caroline says, if you like surrealism, check out Samantha Shoemaker. It's traditional painting. She has a very muted palette, and yet her paintings feel very voluptuous. Okay, let me see here.
Ooh.
Samantha, what was the last name?
Shoemaker.
Shoemaker. Ooh.
I was looking at this one. This is nice.
I almost want to see them push themselves further. I do like low contrast, but I also like
Yeah.
when there are different saturation areas, and I feel like a lot of her work feels very muted everywhere.
It's almost like you put a thing of gloss over it, or like you put like almost like a gray filter on top of it, and then it just brings everything down. You know?
I do like some of the direction she's going in, but even with some of the one with the girl under the castle, it just feels very over rendered in a lot of ways. And then the skin just feels very flat to me. But I'm not here to critique and give taste opinion. I like a lot of the concepts she's playing with. She obviously has a good technical understanding of proportion, and
That one looks like her strongest.
yeah, I like the one with the girl with the 2 mirrors. I think that's my favorite one. But even still, I feel like just a pop of saturation somewhere, even on the dress or on the hand, something would intrigue me more about it.
Even if you just took like white and just kind of just like put it like right there on the
I guess we could show
and everything.
This is the one that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like
You
make it look more like butter.
Yeah, and just put it like.
Actually, yeah. Compare it. These two images. I mean, Costa is obviously a lot more saturated, but it almost feels like Sam's work just feels. I don't want to say void of life. It just.
Cold.
I need it cold.
Cold.
Thank you. It
Yeah.
feels cold to me. But anyways, I don't want to critique this person that we don't even know. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
right. We're just like ripping her apart.
I have a bad habit of giving my opinion, voicing it too
Your
quickly.
art is cold.
Okay, moving forward.
Put a sweater on.
So next,
Warm.
I'm just gonna say their name is Saba. I don't actually know what their real name is, but
Making
Saba is
myself
one.
laugh.
Sorry, what happened over
I'm
here?
just making myself laugh. Go.
See, this is why we're friends, because I could be sitting at my desk with headphones on drawing, and Sean will think he's having a great conversation. He's laughing. There's tears. And at the end of it, he gives me a hug, and I'm like, oh,
Great
what
talk,
happened?
Tim.
He's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
that was so great.
Beautiful
I'm so glad you're
talk.
my friend. I'm like, yeah, me too.
Beautiful.
All right, moving on. Saba is one of those that I found their YouTube, actually is how I found them, through YouTube, and they do tutorials from start to finish on how they do their stuff. And I'm kind of blown away by their boldness in a sense of when they are working in their piece, they kind of manipulate and change the process throughout it, and they never feel like it is stapled or rooted in one concept or idea or color palette, and they have that till the end. It is constantly evolving, and it's actually really neat to watch a piece go from start to finish, where throughout the entire process you may not even know where it's going, and then the end result would probably be a different result than what you expected it when you first saw the first like 3 minutes of the painting process. So Saba's on here for, I think, obvious reasons, if you guys can't already tell. Their detail rendering and color use is very strong, in my opinion, and it definitely has a sense of weirdness to it. It's not as strange as some of the other artists that I've shown here, but I feel like in terms of rendering with color, they're very, very strong, and there's someone that I definitely look up to for that sense. And thank you, Guy Webb, for following.
Thanks for following. That was really strange where it gave us two different. Did you see that? Yeah.
I know. So
It's like a double thing.
yeah, it's a double thing.
All right. Well.
So, ooh.
More packages.
Probably, actually.
boy.
We ordered a lot of packages recently. We have a lot of cons coming up. Saba is someone that I would definitely check out their YouTube. I mean, obviously I would check out their Instagram, but if you really want to see something neat, go to their YouTube and check out their work there. Okay, my last one on the list is Feral Kid. And with Feral Kid's work, this is another artist, same thing. I found the left image a long time ago.
Ooh.
Right?
I like that a lot.
And I never knew who the artist was. I saved it on a Pinterest sheet years ago. And then this year is when I found the right one, and I followed it on Instagram search, and bam, I was in love with their work. And if it isn't obvious, there's a strangeness to it, but their use of contrast is what really intrigues me. The left image, it would be so easy to make that a higher contrast piece and have the area around the bird be more enveloped with rendering to give it more volume and depth. But I like how almost flat it feels without feeling flat. And it's like that very subtle occlusion shadows that you include everywhere, and then a very soft shadow. But even with the body of the character, you could have easily thrown a gradient going from down or from the bottom of the body going up, it really would pull your focus more to the head and it would stay here. But the decision not to add that gradient, all of a sudden your eye goes back and forth between the whole piece. And as much as I love gradient contrast included in pretty much everything I do, I think this is a good example of it can still be strong without the need to have that gradient. And I think that's why Feral is on here. Definitely someone you should check out. And I actually don't know if it's traditional or digital. It could be tradigital, but I actually am not sure.
Tradig.
I don't know if I like that word.
Hashtag tradig.
What
did we say? What did we call a demo?
Quick dem.
Quick dem.
Yeah, I'm not.
It was a quick.
Still
dem.
Not sure if I like quick dem either.
Quick dem of tradig.
But Feral Kid is definitely someone I would recommend checking out. Okay, those are my 9, and I just want to do a quick recap for all of those who missed the beginning of the stream. Crayola, Chingy, Zen, Robbie, Max. Oop, that's not Aw. Costa, Saba, and Feral. I would hope so. They're my top 9 influencers of last year.
I like how all yours are like color.
Right?
Most of mine don't have color.
See, that's interesting because I work almost primarily without color and you work primarily with color. All right. Well, Key, do you want to go next?
Yeah, do you want to go next?
I'm down for whatever. I'll go next.
Because I feel like you want to go
Mine's
explore the universe.
Yeah, I do want to
All right.
Yeah,
so we're going to switch it to Key. Whoops. Me and Sean's personal conversations. Did you send it on here?
No, it's in our Dropbox, like ours. Like,
oh, okay.
If you have the Dropbox app, you should be able to open it automatically.
All right, well, I'm going to scooch on out of here. I got to go to the bathroom, so.
All right, go to the bathroom.
All right, this is Keys time.
I got to bring this in for a second.
That chair.
So yeah, guys, take a break. Do whatever you need to. Update.
Hello, I'm here.
So everyone, this is Key. Do you want to give a little information about yourself while I am reconfiguring this?
I'm Tim's roommate.
I feel like there's more to you than just that.
I do art sometimes. Like every day. But that's only sometimes. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. So if you guys don't know who Key is also one of my best friends. We met at a convention a year and a half. No, 2. Oh,
it's been over 2 years.
It's been over 2. Oh, I've known you for over 2 years.
Yeah.
Well, in a weird way, I feel like I've known Key for my entire life because we're the same person. Can't you tell? It's like a mirror image right now. Who's who? When we're in the same room, sometimes people are like, I can't tell between you guys. Anyways, Key and I have very similar tastes for the most part, and then I feel like we have like a 5 to 10% difference, and it's something that I think we respect about one another, but for the most part, I would say we do have a very similar style influence, and I think that's why Key and I get along so much and why we have similar ideas, and even with Drawtober, I think it just meshes really well. So I'm actually super curious to see what your top 9 are, because I'm sure Actually, no, I saw your list. I know a lot of Key's artists, and I love a lot of her artists, too. Okay. So then the blocker is set. So then I'm going to let you take it away. I'll move this for you, though.
God. Okay, thanks.
All right, ready? So Key's number 1.
Oh, number 1 is Andrew Kamar.
Oh, and apparently the mic is really soft now, so you got to talk even louder. Yeah.
Is this good? Is this good? All right, Andrew Kamar. I absolutely love this guy's stuff just because he works so fast. It seems like, at least with his style, because you can see every like pen stroke. But I love his characters and how he uses contrast with just using ink alone. It's great, and the shapes and
actually, I like this image more now that I'm actually looking at it
like the
close up.
characters interacting are so good.
He's like an energy in his line.
He has a lot of energy.
Placement, yeah.
And like I love that about a lot of artists is like how much energy they put into their work. I don't like clean art. So like this is definitely like my ideal when it comes to art.
Yeah. I would say that's like our 10% difference.
Right.
I think I'm definitely more on
Tim
the
likes
over-rendered side.
over-rendered,
He's
and
on
I
the
like
energy side.
all the scratchy scratches and
I think that's why you've been a good influence on me, especially when I first met you. I feel like your stuff, especially your Inktober book, I just remember thinking, oh, this is such a good artist. Because it felt quick without it feeling rushed. And it just felt like you were confident with the strokes that you were putting down. And I feel like he's the same thing.
yeah. That's what I love. Like confidence in. I mean, ink is like a medium you need to have confidence in. So anyone that uses ink is like. Let me just say that there's quite a few ink artists in my top 9.
Right?
Yeah.
Says, welcome, Queen Key.
Oh.
Hi, Key. Hi, Key. Hello, Key.
Oh, hi.
Far Cry says, Key, are you going to be at OhioCon again this year?
I will be there again.
Actually, our whole troop will be there this year.
Really?
Yeah, because I got in now.
The whole caravan.
Yeah. We're all going to be there.
Oh.
Wait, is Jones stopping by with us?
Are you going for fun?
To where?
OhioCon?
When is that?
The end of this month.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Wait,
Possibly the whole
Ashley
troop.
and Gabe aren't going.
Oh, that's right. For some reason, I keep thinking they're going to that one. But they went last year.
They went last year.
Never mind. You'll see 4, potentially 5 of the roommates at OhioCon this year. Okay. Ready for the new one?
Yeah. Next, coming up.
Is...
Banana Void Bug. Oh, is that how it's supposed to work? I guess so. Yeah. Oh, look, another ink artist. Void Bug we met at, wasn't it Kentucky? At Oh My God Con?
Yeah. I think it was...
Void Bug.
Yeah.
But we met Void Bug at Oh My
God, I've
God
never
Con in
seen
Kentucky.
this.
Yeah, it's great. They actually did that during Drawtober.
What?
Yeah, I think, or at least started it sometime and finished it around then. But
Oh, this is so good.
Voidbug did Drawtober with us, and like every freaking day I was like, oh, what's Voidbug gonna draw today? I'm so excited. But they do ink too, and like I love how they just fill spaces with just like chaos, but like at the same time it's like everything's still thought out of, but like
Actually, do you want to explain why you got excited each day?
because it's always different. Like I love artists that have like a huge variety in their work where they're constantly like, you don't know what they're gonna draw next, basically. And I am always about that sort of thing. And I think like yeah, like when there's artists that kind of draw the same thing over and over, I'm kind of doing that. But I mean, it's more exciting.
I think that's where you and I are very parallel. We like things that are strange and new.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But actually, I don't even know how many followers Voidbug has.
I don't think they have a lot, so that just means y'all better.
I was going to say, this is definitely an artist that I don't think they do have a lot of followers. Please go check out their stuff because their stuff is worth being seen.
And they always use different shapes too, and that's always really great. Like that mummy on the top right.
Yeah, that's what I was intrigued by. Well, the line weighting.
Yeah, the line weight's great in that one.
Oh, it's so good. All right.
Okay, next. My Art Magic. Somebody that I also found through Drawtober.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or also. But anyway, I love their shapes. Like, so very much. It's so liquidy, and like when they're drawing like curves on human proportions, they're always so soft and like just like plush. And I think that's just like really wonderful.
It almost reminds me of P. Curly.
Yeah, a bit.
Especially like...
Yeah. Like, I just like it when people draw, like, the human body in ways that just make them look like liquid, basically. And that's always wonderful to look at. I don't know, it's just really pleasing for the eyeballs, and it's like, oh, everything's so lumpy, but, like, it's so well thought out.
They have a great use of, like, outlining their stuff without it becoming too thick of an outline. Oh, that's great.
And I like a lot of the shapes, like these little squiggles underneath the chin of the top right, and then like the hair on the bottom right, like just so noodly. But they do that sometimes. I'm just like, oh, it's so nice. Spaghetti noodle texture.
There. This feels like I think I know what you're saying with the texture that you get. I almost feel like I could feel her hair on the top and the rivets. It's almost like I don't want to say Play-Doh. But the ridges, I can actually feel what that would feel like, which is
I think
cool.
a lot of my top 9 are just a bunch of artists that do really good texture, and texture is like the best thing for me. Yeah, next person. Alowin and I'm not really sure how to say their name.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we met them at Spectrum this year, the Fantastic Live show, and they were literally right across from me, and their art has some of the most amazing texture I've ever seen in digital art, and I'm just like, oh my god. And then they do ink too, of course, and even in their ink they have so much texture. And again, like,
Wow, look at the different types of texture too.
I know,
It's
like
dots,
it's so much
lines,
variety.
blocked.
And then in the digital work, like they can do texture and they can also do color, and that's amazing.
Even look at the amount of colors are in that moon.
Yeah, we have that. We both
We have that print.
We both have that print.
Surprise, surprise, bunnies.
Surprise.
Yeah, rabbits. No, this
Yeah,
one's really good.
Really good colors. But yeah.
Yeah, you said
textures-
everything I wanted to say
textures
about
for
that one.
days. Yeah. Ely Spencer. Now this person
I don't know
is
this
so
one.
good and kooky because it seems like their style is very reminiscent of like the medieval times. And that's not something I thought I would like, but they take it into such a like a modern way of like art today, and it's something I absolutely love because it's so old but it feels so strange and new today. And of course they have really good shapes and cute little characters.
There's like a boldness to it,
Yeah.
especially with the top right.
And a lot of their colors are very just like muddied and subtle. Like I didn't really put any on here, but on their Instagram, like they use a lot of like this warm gray color for their art.
What
And
kind of
it's
color?
like a warm gray.
Oh, warm gray.
Yeah, a light warm gray. And it's consistent and just really nice. I don't know how much to go on about this. It's just good. Makes me happy.
What?
Wilhelmina, another Jawtober. Ink. Oh, but like, oh, they're so cute. So many of their Jawtobers, like, same with Voidbug. I was like looking forward to it every day because I think the way they fill space and like, I picked all these because they're all characters that are interacting, and characters interacting is not something that I'm good at all.
Yeah.
But like,
I was about to say I'm intrigued by this, but I don't know why. That's why.
all these characters are just doing stuff together and they're hanging out and there's something happening in each piece. And that's the most intriguing thing to me. And also, of course, they're drawn super cute and they're all little fantasy characters.
I guess even of my own curiosity between you and I talking about this, what about characters interacting with each other changes the piece and the way we look at it?
I think it changes it because like it's making a character concept, but it's also putting them in a world where they're like doing something. You know what they're doing rather than like looking at a character concept and just wondering like, okay, what's this for?
Do you feel like you're being brought into that scene, into that world, or do
Oh,
you feel
yeah.
like you're watching a scene happen that you're not a part of?
I think it can be both. It's however you want to feel.
Like this one, I almost feel like I'm there with the cauldron and like I'm cooking with them.
Yeah.
But then other ones, I feel like I'm almost peeking in.
You're just
on-
kind of looking through a window.
I wonder if there is a thing about relationships between how the viewer looks at the art and what's happening in the scene.
I think it's more about the mood that's being portrayed and how it makes the viewer feel looking at it.
Oh, that could be, yeah.
Make it relatable
Yeah.
Yeah.
in a way, yeah.
How
Like
do you relate?
the one with the birds, it's almost like you want to keep your distance, but then the one with the cauldron, it's inviting. That's something we should explore more. At least I know I don't explore
I'm
enough.
working on it, but I'm doing it in ways that just aren't allowed on Twitch.
What could that mean? No one knows. All right.
Can you elaborate?
No. I can't say the dirty words.
Yeah, I guess you kind of said what I would want to say about this. But then also, see,
Oh, pistachio.
is this a mixed medium?
It
I feel like it's watercolor,
looks like,
pen, and...
yeah, pen,
What's
ink.
the highlight?
It
Is
could
that-
be ink wash,
Oh, good call.
but I don't know. Because I don't know.
But I think that's something that's consistent between all three of our top 9 picks is it's not just one medium. And you can definitely be inspired by mediums that are not the ones that you work with. And that's something that in college especially I realized that a lot of the friends that I had would follow artists that only kind of had the same look that they were drawing. And I remember feeling like that wasn't the right thing to do. And now that I'm older, hindsight.
I think that's just something people do when they're younger. Because they haven't seen a lot yet. So they just cling to whatever is the closest they can, like, feel. Like, what they feel connected to the most. And then after a while of seeing, like, a million things, you realize that maybe this thing you were looking at, like, so closely isn't exactly what you want. Basically.
Yeah. Well, it's like then your style evolves. Where like when I was a kid, yeah, Tetsuya Nomura was my favorite artist ever.
I was drawing Sonic.
And what's even more funny is I hated Amano. But now that I'm older, I feel like it didn't switch. I still love Nomura, but
right.
Amano became
Nomura
one of my
the one that
favorite
does
artists.
the Kingdom Hearts artist?
He does Sky way at the top.
No, I'm talking about the other artist.
Nomura does.
No, that's Amano, isn't it?
Yeah, Nomura does Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy 7 through 13, the concept character art.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that. I would always draw Sora or Kairi, just not from the instruction booklet.
Oh yeah, and Kingdom Hearts. And since everyone likes Kingdom Hearts, I've never met anyone that doesn't. You'd be crazy not to like, especially the cloud concept in
I
Kingdom
love
Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts so much.
You know, I don't know if you guys have ever felt this. He is the first person I've ever met that actually likes Kingdom Hearts besides me.
Yeah.
You liked it.
I know, I loved it.
Yeah. But I thought most people would have liked it, but literally in college I couldn't find another person that seemed to like it. And I was like, I thought it was a good game. Maybe I just played it at the right time in my life where I was still young enough to buy in to what was going on, but old enough to appreciate that it's not a happy game. It actually ends kind of tragically. So I don't know. Mixed feelings on that one.
Tragic game.
Hey, these people are saying they love Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, good. Thank you guys. You can cheer me up.
I think I signed up for Otakon, but I didn't get in. Wait, you got into Otakon, though.
I got into Otakon.
Tim got into Otakon.
I think I'm the only one, so it's kind of a bummer, actually.
Yeah.
I think this con made me realize how much I appreciate doing conventions with my friends. So I'll be there. Probably I'll be gloomy and sulky.
Alone. Wait, no. That's not updated. Oops. I'm sorry, Victor. Oh, no.
Wait, which one is it?
No, I took Victor off.
Oh, bye,
Yeah.
Victor.
I couldn't find his old work, so I was like, oh, no. Sorry. Oh, no. It should be updated. I don't know.
Victor is one of our friends, though, that we met technically 2 years ago. Well, I did. And then Key met him this year. He's a great artist. Go check him out. He's a Riot artist that has done amazing personal work. What are you grabbing?
I'm getting the name.
Oh, of the next artist?
Yeah.
I'll do a quick change here.
Oh, what? It's an update.
Is it the artist that does the colorful pink, purple, blue stuff?
Cassie German. Yeah.
And how do you spell that?
It's CASS.
Why?
No. JER.
That? Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, this artist I put because I felt like they did Jawtober, but they only did a couple days. But I'm still really happy they participated. Otherwise, I would have never found them. But they have this such like a childish look to their work, where it feels like they're very carefree. They're not really caring about like the shapes and forms too much, but it's still like enough for where it's still very pleasant to look at.
Yeah, I love this one.
I love that one too. That was probably my favorite one, just because it's so, like, it's so happy.
You know what's
and
funny
messy.
is when people think confidence, they think it has to be like big, bold strokes. To me, this top left image like screams confidence in the weirdest way. But it's almost like they don't care what you think about proportions or realism or how it's supposed to look. They're doing what they want, and they're kind of applying their technical understanding of color to subject matters that aren't proportionate or aren't super accurate.
And they put all these little
interesting.
like strokes of texture, like stuff that I really like doing too, and they're just using it in this really like colorful like kiddish way. So it feels very innocent to me. And they're not
That's a good
trying
way to say
to
it.
like achieve this sort of like level of art that I think that like people think they need.
Yeah. Even if you guys look at like kid book illustrations, a lot of it feels similar to this. And especially the ones I really like, it's not rendered at all, which people would probably
Right.
find surprising. It's very simple and the color choices are usually minimal, but it works and it works so well because of that simplicity. So yeah,
All right, are we on the last one? No, second to last.
Nope. 2 more.
Annie's
Hey.
Dig. Annie, I don't think.
We posted the
I
unicorns.
know. I mean, I had to have a unicorn influence for this year, considering all I kind of did this year was draw a unicorn.
You did more than just draw. I
I
would say it
did.
was a focus for you.
It was a focus.
For
But,
sure.
I loved Annie Stegg's, like, unicorns. Like, the main thing I like about Annie Stegg, besides the unicorns, of course, is, like, she works in traditional mediums, which
Oil.
whenever she works in that, it's very neutral and it feels natural. Like, you can just, like, go into a forest and this is where you would find the color palette.
I didn't realize how much texture she even has
Yeah,
on her
she also
animals.
has a lot of texture.
Actually, wait, keep talking about her for a second. I want to show them Annie's newest
Yeah.
piece.
Go for it. But I don't know what else to say. It's good texture. It's nice, subtle, like colors.
I think she also has a really great way of drawing your eye to a specific area. And I think sometimes we think it might be cheating when you like pull highlighter, pull saturation to the center or wherever the subject matter focus is. But in a really odd way, it works, and it works really well. So don't feel like you're cheating if you're following some of these art rules or theories.
It's also very like old school. Like the art masters back in the day. She's very reminiscent of like the not medieval, but Renaissance artists.
Oh, this is actually a great... So I got to meet Annie at the Fantastic Workshop this year. I don't know if... I'll make that bigger really
Yeah,
quick.
there's a little thing. Just give it a sec. Right there.
So I found it fascinating that her detail is usually not this rendered out thing. They're dots. And she does this everywhere in her pieces. But it's really just taking a paintbrush, dabbing a little bit of white, and then dotting everywhere. And I think that almost... It frustrates me a little bit because I think that everything has to be rendered in a specific way. But she almost takes that idea and throws it away and was like, no, I can add texture and realism with just dots. And you can kind of imagine the jewelry, the sparkle of the reflection just from dots.
They're just really, really quick little strokes even too. And that's something
Yeah.
I do in my work, and I'm just like, if other, like, I really like other artists that kind of do the same thing, because I mean, it's a taste thing.
It is. And then this was the other one where all of the petals that you see that are really small, they're literally 5 brush strokes and that's it. She doesn't go in
Yeah.
and try to like render them with a certain amount of value.
Just,
Nope, forgoes that
super
completely.
simple, like, almost flat,
Yeah,
basically.
but it works so well. All right, let's see if we get any questions though before we keep going. Far Cry says, people have been telling me Kingdom Hearts 1 is boring, but I will fight that to my grave. Boring? What?
Bye. Whoever those people are.
Right? Let's see here. Nico says, Nomura designed some characters for Final Fantasy 15. Noctis also have a Kingdom Hearts set too. Hey!
Oh, nice.
He did the ones for 15. You know what's funny is I have been following him pretty exclusively for the past 15 years of my life. And he is very influenced by the fashion industry. And literally the first time I saw the underside, the soles of the boots of all the characters, I knew that it was Nomura because that is a Christian Louboutin signature on the black pump heel, where it's red on the underside, black on the top. And it's a very famous fashion statement where I think most concept artists wouldn't even know that, but I know that he is so fascinated by the fashion world as much as I am, where he implemented that into a concept art game, and all of a sudden it became iconic and new because a lot of gamers or a lot of people that, you know, do play video games, especially people that may not be artists per se, it feels fresh. And I think that more artists should be looking at the fashion world and implementing things that you can learn from that into their own work, their own concepts, and bringing a new audience those concepts.
Right.
Okay, let's see what else we got. Adrian says, I was hoping to meet Key too. It will be great meeting you, Tim. Well, it'll be great meeting you too. I wish Key was there too. Solomon says, sorry I'm late. Hope you and Key are doing well and that your stress from last week has gotten better. It has. I have a great support system at the house.
Tim.
A lot of times I think I overthink things and I divulge in it. I feel like it's a gross indulgence where I need to get myself away from thinking about it. Key always tells me just live in the moment, live for now. And it's true. I stress out, and when you really start to pull yourself out and you start to think more extensionally, or what's that called?
If you think beyond what you're living right now, you're going to see your death marker, and you don't want to do that.
Yeah. And then I feel like life itself kind of loses a bit of meaning the more you pull out.
Yeah.
And I think it's good to like come back in, live in the moment that you're living right now.
Do what makes you happy.
Exactly. Okay. And lastly, Eloquent Elephant says, I might have missed it, but where can I see Key stuff? Ooh. Or no, is it God.Key on Facebook or on Instagram?
Yeah. That's...
So that is our Instagram. Don't click that link. I don't know what it will do.
I don't know what that link will do either.
But that's our Instagram. Key is a fantastic artist. If you haven't seen her work, go check it out.
I'm okay. Just kidding. Stop. Stop.
All right. Sorry. Last one. Key's final one
Is actually a makeup artist.
Ooh.
I love this makeup artist because she's like other artists that I really like that you don't know what they're going to do next. And she has such a variety in her makeup works and even the texture. Look, texture.
Oh, yeah, those white lashes are great.
And she has such a unique look to her too. And I'm just like, that's wonderful.
You know what? I almost want to share because I was thinking of making another list. Yeah, another list of people that aren't artists. You know, traditionally. Oop, that's not what I'm looking for. That is definitely not what I'm looking for.
Not it.
There is.
Is she hungry?
Is She Hungry is this artist on Instagram. Very weird, and every single post just feels different, inspiring, and wacky. And if you guys haven't learned from me and Key's influences by now, we like strange. We like things that feel original. So don't just limit yourself to even traditional thinking of what art can be. Go outside of that. Look at fashion world. Look at drag queens. I feel like there are so many other influences that you can have. Makeup, like you're doing right here. There's so many different influences.
I think I follow V for Void. They're suggesting V for Void.
How do you spell that? Oh.
Are they the one that... Oh, no, wait, no, I followed them before.
He's already following them, apparently. Oh, I know one. There's another one that I really like. He does... What is the one I really liked recently? Oh, it's not even on here. But this is a good example of go outside of your... Oh, it was the white one.
Oh.
I don't know. I just find it so inspiring. And I think... I mean, they only have 12,000 followers. But in my mind, this is like better than most fashion I see at the runway or even at the Met Gala.
I've never seen this before, Tim.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, I love vonnart. And they're in Chicago. Yeah.
What?
Right? Like, look how fantastic all these things are.
Yeah.
So anyways, I would definitely not limit yourself to just traditional thinking of art and what artists are. So yeah. Well, thank you, Key.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm done.
See,
Thanks,
you took
guys.
40 minutes too.
No, I didn't.
When did you start?
So I took half an hour.
Okay, well, maybe I had to take the longest. I'll admit it. Okay.
John! Oh, right there.
Well, thank you, Key.
Yeah, bye, love you.
The whole time.
Welcome back, Sean.
The show has returned.
What?
I'm just kidding.
Key was the best part of the show.
That's true.
You and I are just the
I know.
filler at the beginning and
I know,
end.
we never get to see Key. Yeah, we never get to see Key. So
Okay.
I don't live here.
yeah,
He's in another planet, or she'll be exploring other universes right now.
You gotta go back to the other file.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay, well, one last break as I switch this over. Sean, do you want to do some talking like you do?
Welcome to the break. That's it.
No. Keep going.
Oh, okay. Actually, what I do want to say, is so the biggest thing with Tim basically saying that he had words and stuff that described his kind of thing. Mine, I guess I gotta say that it is the words I would use to describe my influences for last year. Yeah, I was about to say this year. Last year, 2017, was literally shape, flow, and limited color palette. That is like I cannot stress those enough when you see these. So yeah, so I would just keep that in mind, really, because that's the one thing that kind of influenced me when it came to that stuff. So,
And for those of you who don't know Sean, Sean has a very specific look to his stuff too, where it's very bold and swoopy, and it has movement. He always thinks of composition. So I think I'll be curious to see what your 9 are, because I think I'll see similar patterns.
one thing too is that kind of like with Tim, like a lot of people would think that your influences would be like, what's the word? What did you say it was?
For what? For mine or for yours?
Yeah. Yours would be penciled like a graphite and everything like that. Like
Oh,
very
of what
like
people
that.
would think I'd be inspired by? Yeah.
People would probably think that I would be, like tattoo artist type things and everything like that. And then partially that is true. But for the most part, I was actually really inspired by sculpture a lot. I actually have 3 sculptors on my list. So,
No, I'm excited to see it.
yeah.
But I just want to make one more point of, I met Keaton and Sean, and I think the reason we got along so well is because we've influenced each other in a day-to-day personal way, where make friends with people that you are influenced by, or if you go to an art school, kind of gravitate toward the art styles and people that you enjoy and that inspire you, and then you'll see how your work reflects it. I feel like Sean has inspired my work to have a little bit more movement within it.
You need
But the way that
movement.
he
Yeah.
renders his gradients, for a little while, I was experimenting with it, and I liked the look of it, and I like playing with line weights, especially on the outer edge, being a little heavier, inside being lighter. And you kind of see where your influences reflect your own stuff. But if you have a really solid friend art group, I feel like they will push and inspire and motivate you. So do your best to find friends that you can look up to, as long as be, mates with.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
No, I actually want to say, so I feel like lately my work has been very inspired by your stuff lately, because yours is
Mine?
yours is very like conceptual. Like it doesn't.
Oh.
Yeah, like it doesn't have, like it's a very figurative way of drawing rather than being like a literal. And I feel like I kind of want to explore that a little bit more. I know you're kind of upset in a way of just like I'm throwing away kind of like my golden ratio composition when it comes to that stuff, but like I still really want to explore like these conceptual things and kind of like, I don't know, it basically just like pushing in like this weird direction. I guess it's been fun. It has been fun. So,
And I think we'll get to Sean's 9 in just a second, but I think why Sean and I have had these talks recently is because we've had discussions of, do we like things that are more graphic and elemental in design, or do we like things that have a story or meaning behind them? And we're trying to figure out why we like each. Sean's definitely more on the graphical side. I think I like more of the hidden meaning or something figurative. And it's just a good discussion to have. I don't think when you have an opinion on something, don't make it an argument, make it a discussion. I feel like you learn so much. And I've learned a lot from Sean and his influences, especially with, who's the main one that Tegan?
Tegan White.
Yeah. And I've been influenced by her in some ways recently too. So don't limit yourself by your opinion, and try to be open to other forms of art and different opinions on what other people like. All right, let's knock these out really quick.
Yeah. Of course.
Who was that you just pulled out? His name is Monar.x, or Is She Hungry? Spongy says, have you seen Miles' art on Insta? Have I seen Miles' art on Insta?
No.
No. Who is that?
Never
I
seen
actually don't know who that is. Miles is definitely, when he started following me, it was like that, that's really nice to hear. And whenever people compare my stuff to him, it's the deepest compliment, because his stuff is so figurative and imaginative. and his technical ability is definitely stronger than mine, and I look up to him in that way because it gives me motivation to better myself in my own work. So yeah, I love Miles' art. And the reason he wasn't on this list is because I followed him a year or two ago, so it wouldn't have made my top 9 of 2017. Max says, hi there from Austria. Glad to catch the stream once more. Well, hello, Max. Welcome to the stream. And that says, just made an Instagram, but I don't get it. My images are small as hell when I upload. How do I upload it normally or get a better view of my post? You don't. So when you're working with Instagram, try to format it the best that it's going to be seen at that ratio. For most people on their phones, that's how they're going to see your image. So if you have a really giant image, maybe the first image, the preview one, should be a smaller close-up version of it so people get a better idea of what the entire piece is, and then the next image can be the full shot. Even with the tree that I just did, it's very hard to kind of see all the details and the work that you put into it on a far shot, but then if you do a couple close ones, it gives people a better idea of the work that you put in it or the detail that the piece has. So I would say give Instagram a try. It's definitely the #1 social sharing website of today's age. And it could evolve into something new. Who knows? We thought Facebook was going to be one all, say all, but now it's kind of evolved into Instagram. And who knows what that's going to evolve into next. So always be willing to adapt to whatever is current.
Vimeo.
Oh, poor Vimeo.
Poor Vimeo. But
Poor
come
Vimeo.
on, Vimeo's got some good stuff on it. So let's give a thing out
Vimeo.
to Vimeo. Just like,
We start pouring one
Vimeo.
out. All right, let's get to your top 9.
Yeah, of course.
All right, so starting off.
Yeah. You got it?
You want to say it?
Yeah, no. My first one is, yeah. Is it Kavner or Kavner?
I think it's Kavner.
It's Kavner, yeah. My first one is Beth Kavner. She is a sculpture artist, and she is absolutely, like, stunning. The reason why is because of her movement. Literally everything in her piece, everything is moving, and it's a sculpture, which is just insane. Like, you can literally break down every type of flow, every type of shape, everything, with just movement. And she uses such a limited color palette that it's just like, you could just understand it so easily. Like, it's right in front of your face, and it's not any, like, super rainbow, anything like that.
Well, and earlier we described something as butter. I would describe hers as frosting.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's just amazing. And when you see her stuff in person, like, it's actually, like, huge.
Yeah.
It's giant. So yeah, I have yet to see something in person by her. I know that
We
saw
did.
this. Yeah, you ended up seeing it. It was a rabbit, I think.
Uh-huh.
I saw the image on the bottom, the one with the black. Yeah, the one with the black circle.
You guys might not be able to see it, but there's a sculpture within that circle.
Yeah, there's literally a sculpture within it of this thing, and she painted it that way to where it's like this fox just coming out from this shadow. And actually, they showed a picture of it of the side to where this black circle is actually like this wide.
Oh, is it really?
So yeah, it's just a giant like chunk of whatever. Cool. Yeah. So it's absolutely beautiful. And just her flow, like so anything. I always look at her work when it comes to wanting to create either an animal or a type of insect or anything like that, of just understanding how flow moves within an object and seeing what I can do to kind of make that flow.
And it's not only like a strong outer shape, but then there's strong inner shapes.
Mm-hmm.
There's like movements within movements.
Yeah, that's honestly, I mean, you're going to see a lot of that on this list.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
Nico says, about your commentary of Artist X Fashion, I started getting into fashion because of you, LOL, and now I have a couple huge fashion books I do studies from. That is awesome. I feel like I wish more artists did that because fashion world is just as weird and crazy. Well, some fashion world, a lot of it can be very monotone and what would sell well. But the ones that are experimental or weird, I think look at like Alexander McQueen or any of those that kind of go for it. Those are super awe-inspiring.
Mm-hmm.
Maria says, have you seen John... Actually, yes. I think I have. Let me double check. Sometimes I hear a name and I think I know it.
John Ken Mortenstein?
No, I have not seen this art, actually. Oh, it's cute, though.
I like his work. Yeah, it's
yeah.
super graphical.
Oh, he would love this. So this is a good example of texture. You can see all the strokes.
Yeah.
There's an energy to it. It's not rendered realistically, but you still get the idea of what's going on. So that is what John Ken Mortensen is all about. Serenity says, Beth is awesome. I love her work.
It's amazing. Someone actually, they compared my work to her. They said it was just like they saw it, and then they were like, oh, like it reminds me of Beth and I was just like, I can't talk to you right now. I was like walked away for a second, and I was just like, no, she's too good, and I'm trying.
Hey, Tijel, says Mother has arrived. Welcome.
Tijel, hello.
You missed Keys in mine top 9, but at least you get Sean's top 9.
You get me. It was the main event.
Fem says, Lord and Savior Tijel granted us his presence. Yes, thank you, Tijalio. Adrian says, Sean, check out Ellen
Jewett. Just you wait. Just you wait, Adrian. Don't you worry.
Oh, I know Ellen Juliet. You know, or I think you know.
Oh, just you wait about the list.
Do you know this artist?
Keep on moving. Yeah, of course I know that artist.
Okay, yeah. Oh, I see what you mean. Sorry. Right over my head.
Right over the head.
Flew right over. Sammy says, whoa, what are those foxings? They're all sculptures.
They're all sculptures
Okay.
by Beth Kavner.
Ready?
My next one is...
I don't think I know this one.
Is Hooky Duke. But her name is Erica Williams.
Oh.
Yeah, her name's Erica Williams. And the reason why I like her work so much is that it's a very limited color palette. It's very limited and it's kind of muted in that sense. Like, nothing is super saturated. It kind of gives you the illusion that it's all saturated, but it's not, in a way.
The right ones are. Oh.
If you really look at those are not bright.
Hold on. You know what?
I'll keep going. Anyway.
Yeah, keep going. Keep going.
But anyway. But no, so what I do like about it is that, so she renders out, they're very...
Sean.
Oh, wow. Never mind, I lied. It's a little saturated.
I think you're looking at, like, these colors.
Yeah, those are the ones I'm using. It's almost like this balance between saturation, like super bright or like super kind of hot colors next to ones that are not. Anyway.
That I think you like the contrast between the two.
Yeah, yeah. So there's some contrast, and then also too is just the shapes. Essentially, like there's always there's a consistent shape kind of that's working. Like if you go through all the leaves and everything like that, like they're consistent. Same with like the feathers and everything, like the wings and all that. They're just very consistent. Everything in this, I would just say, is just very consistent and very kind of tight, which is something that I really enjoy when it comes to that stuff. I know that she does like poster artwork for bands and everything like that, and then also too, I think those ones are just her regular paintings are the ones on the right.
I think the thing that I see most in what you probably like is the movement. I feel directed in each of these in like a very, it keeps me concentrated within the image.
There's always movement in my stuff.
Because even like the placement of these berries on the top one, if there weren't berries down here, I think it would have lost the movement. But that red carries you back around. And same with this one, it's golden.
So that's the thing, is when you look for the shapes within a shape. And that's like the one thing that I really enjoy finding. I feel like I got that from tattooing, which is something that when you're tattooing somebody or anything like that, or you're kind of like rendering out a tattoo, you're putting a tattoo on top of a shape. So you have your arm, and if you look at your arm as a flat shape, it's a rectangle. So you have to think of things that will fit inside of a rectangle. So it's kind of like this weird, like, made-up tanagram that you made. Yeah. But then you also want it to flow, because then there's also S shapes involved in all the flow and everything like that. So I don't know. I very much enjoy very bold, always moving type stuff. And then, yeah, I mean, she and her work is also like rendered out very, very nicely.
Oh, what's great about this too is the left image has very striking outlines everywhere, and then the two right ones almost seem to be absent of any outline besides like a really subtle one.
Yeah.
And I like when an artist can do both. And this definitely seems like this artist can do both.
Well, the big one is she did all that in pen, and then she scanned it in, and then just went colors over it. Yeah.
What about these two? Do you know?
And those ones are done with gouache.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Watercolor and gouache.
Yeah, that's strong.
So yeah, she's amazing. Her name's Erica Williams, if you want to look her up.
Or Hooky Duke on Instagram?
Hooky Duke on Instagram. Next one is Ellen Jewett, like you just mentioned.
Oh.
Yeah, like you just mentioned. She is incredible. Someone actually, I was at a convention, and someone also compared me to her work when it came to like flow and movement. They said they noticed in the branches, my branches have a lot of movement, and they kind of went into the same thing of it. The one thing though that I actually do really enjoy is that her shapes, essentially, like there's also still more flow. But if you were to break it down into a shape, like, it's just a very nice flowing shape. It almost kind of like, it's another sculpture thing that kind of is like a reminiscent of like an S shape in a way. Especially that one with the deer and everything like that. Like, those legs are absolutely beautiful.
Yeah,
I don't know, like,
great.
why. Like, it's just so great, and just all the shapes, and especially like having all the branches. And when you actually really, really zoom in and like look in like to her stuff. So if you were to look into like these ones right here,
I feel like I can't zoom though.
that's okay. You'll see like other little things. Like, there's actually like little birds and little fish and like little things that you can find in there. Same with the turtle one as well, to where there's more like little things, and there's also like a little animal and like a little well and everything. So yes, I mean, she just puts all these little tiny Easter eggs within this sculpture that's actually not that big, and it's just, they're really great to look at. So once again, more flow, more shapes. Yeah, that's what I'm all about. All flow.
I definitely check out, if you're a fantasy artist too, I think her stuff is obviously inspiring. Go check it out.
My next one is Shane Ford. Shane Ford is actually a tattoo artist that I found this year.
Yeah.
Shane Ford is a tattoo artist that I found this year, but I don't like his tattoo work. I actually only like his pencil work. I'm sorry if you're watching, Shane.
I love this topic.
But the thing is, like, so everything's rendered, once again, very tight. There is kind of a flow and everything. But yeah, it's how things are rendered. Things are rendered tight. You can kind of read everything. It's very shapular, which is another thing I kind of get into. But those bottom two, actually, I found this year, and those ones kind of really, really pushed me in a way to actually start using two colors rather than just sticking with one. So that's why he was kind of a big influence this year, to where I saw that, and it was just kind of, I kind of kept those images in my mind and in my brain as I was drawing, to where I was just like if he can make this image very strong with these two colors, I feel like I could too.
Yeah.
But yeah, and once again, like, I mean, his stuff, like, technically is very well done. It's very tight put together. This one's not as tight when you get down into that stuff, but
I kind of like the looseness of that one.
yeah, but I mean, that one feels more like an illustration rather than a tattoo.
Oh yeah.
You know,
the top left one to me is just so inspiring, because there is so much story that is intriguing me of what was he thinking. And obviously you got a man that's trying to shoot birds, and the birds have the targets on them. But I like that
they're not even birds; they're just targets,
right?
Yeah. So
then
it's
it
just just a weird, surreal thing that you see.
And I almost like that he's not aiming at either of them, but he's looking at the one next to him. There's a lot of questions that form in my mind when I look at something like that. And that is way more intriguing. So, like, the parrot is really well rendered, but it's a parrot on a pineapple.
It's a parrot on a pineapple.
But it shows a technical prowess, where the left one goes back to what we were talking about earlier. I feel like shows creativity and a technical prowess. And I think this artist, Sean showed me him earlier last year, I gotta say now. Yeah. And I was kind of blown away. But he's right. The tattoo stuff, though, felt a little lacking.
It didn't achieve kind of the same of what he could do on paper, which I get it, which is why I'm doing this.
Really quick, Far Cry says, I don't know if you're on Twitter a lot, Sean, but Werewolf seems like an artist you would like.
We'll give it a shot, yeah.
Oops. Let's see here.
Ooh.
Oh, this looks like someone Jonas would like.
Yeah. This looks more like a Jonas thing. That's cool.
Oh, the bug's...
Yeah.
Yeah, the bug's great.
That
Oh,
one's
I
nice.
see.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one's nice.
It almost has like a jaw feel to it.
Oh, yeah. No, I'll definitely look
Oh,
at
yeah, definitely
these,
with the pencil one, yeah. Did you... Serenity says, I've seen her art on Pinterest so often. Oh, that was probably the last one. Yeah. Definitely check out her actual work. Adrian says, I love her work. Agreed. All right, ready? Hey.
Oh, yeah, the next one is Melpa. Our very own Melpa. I don't think she's in the chat anymore, but the one thing, though, is that, so she kind of came out of nowhere and into our Discord, and I know that, like, I fell in love with her work instantly because of her limited color palette. She doesn't, and that's the one thing, is I remember I was going through this weird thing last year to where I didn't know if I should just focus on making things in full color, making things in one color, or, you know, like do some type of one or like another color. So then I started discovering all these artists that could do so much with just one or two colors. And that was one thing with Melpa, to where she came out and she was so strong with just making just like these images and just so much confidence behind them. I'm just like, oh yeah, hey, like there's just this red, and then I'm gonna put this blue here, or to where she does the face up there, to where she does it in purple, and then she just puts this orange behind it, and it's just like those are the only two colors that you need, and they're beautiful. And so yeah, so Melpa definitely really inspired me to kind of keep sticking with like, okay, no, like I can make this work with a limited color palette. I know that I've kind of been, I've gotten kind of criticized sometimes. Even when I was at Spectrum, and I got I was at Spectrum, and I got a critique. I got criticized on using just one color. And I didn't, like, I was open to doing, like, two colors, but they were talking about, you know, like, oh, this should be this should be this should be this. And I'm just kind of like, when you put more colors into it, my brain just starts to go wild, you know, and I'm not a fan of it at times, you know, so. But yeah, so having Melpa there, you know, finding other people like Melpa, and then also like Beth Kavner and everything like that, like using just these very, very just softer colors. I love it. I think it's great. So yeah, so thanks, Melpa. I hope you get to see this.
Yeah, and for those of you, we saw the question of the Discord. It's down below. You can join it. And Nico just posted another one, so either of those links should work.
Yeah.
And basically, the community that we're growing, it seems to be growing in the direction that we wanted it to, where we're supporting each other. Artists are posting work. They're getting critiqued. It's not just something you join and have fun with. I mean, we try to have some fun, but I think it is a place more for people that want a community of artists that are creating art. So moving forward, that's the direction we're going in, and it's been great. Thank you, Lucas101, for following. So Melpa has been a joy to have on Discord amongst many other artists on there, and I think you guys would enjoy it too.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on. Next.
Moving on. Was a guy...
doesn't even fit in the highlight.
Yeah, it doesn't even fit in the highlight. Was a guy that I found actually early in the year.
What is a zombie?
Oh, is now hosting my stream at 5.
Oh, thank you, Volpsy.
Hey, cool. That's fun. That's...
Apparently I didn't take out the zombie.
Yeah, all right, cool. We got a zombie. Anyway, so this is another sculpture artist, and his name is Nick Bibby. Nick Bibby. And that's him on Instagram if you want to check it out. The one thing that I really, really liked about his work, though, is that it kind of reminded me of if you were to make a sculpture, and if you were to take every texture aspect out of it, and it would just be a smooth object, and you could see every shape clearly.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it.
And literally, like, look at, like, I'm not even kidding, like, look at that one. It's literally just, like, that one on top. No, that one. It's literally just an oval and a triangle and, like, 2 other triangles. But it's so strong, and it's so... Yeah.
Get these zombies out of here.
Zombies, go, get them away. But they're so strong. And the one thing that I just really love about it is that they're so, like, kind of almost easy to digest in a way that your brain can break every shape down. So if you really need to know, like, how something is drawn, or how something is, or at least how you can make something look in a way, definitely look at this artist, to where all of his stuff is just very, very just, I mean, it's basic shape, but that's what I like about it.
They're strong shapes.
It is. It's just strong, basic shapes, to where they're just right there.
It's almost a reminder that as artists, I mean, Key loves texture, I love rendering, but really, if the shape isn't strong, you're still going to miss something regardless of how much you render it, how much texture you add into it. So always think of having strong shapes before you even begin. And it actually goes true with characters too. I think a lot of characters I draw are very stiff looking because I don't think of the shape language beforehand, or like the positioning of the weight and creating interesting shape language. And even though I can render the hell out of something, it will still feel lacking or weak because I'm not thinking of the shape. So I think this is a great artist that Sean brought up of strong shape. Just have that first and foremost, and have that be the focus, and wow,
and then
like,
boom,
what great
you're
pieces.
Done. You know, it was funny, like what Jace just said, looking at all these various artists, it's interesting to see how much a person can express / say in a single image.
It's a great way to put it.
And it's just, I mean, and it all depends on how you say it. Like you said, you could do it with texture. You could do it with, what was the one thing you said?
Rendering.
Texture and rendering and
Yeah.
everything like that. Or you can do it with shape and flow and all that stuff. So it all depends on what you like doing.
Yeah. And then even Sammy just said, I love how diverse all of your tastes are as artists. This is why you want to surround yourself with people that have different tastes than you. Even though Key and I would say have very, very similar tastes, it's that 10% difference where she really likes texture, I really like rendering, and we can inspire each other. But then like Sean comes along and he has a very different taste than either of Key or I. And it's very shape heavy,
graphic and
very
shapes.
graphic. That's a good word to say. And shape language is the number one thing for Sean. So that has influenced me and maybe Key to some degree. And it's good. I think you should have friends that have different tastes and different interests and different skills.
I wouldn't even say
than you
shape
have.
language. I would just say just a strong overall shape.
Yeah.
Right? Like, cause I
Well,
feel
wouldn't
like
that be strong shape language? Like a really strong, I guess this to me is like,
I guess to me, so when overall shape is, I'm thinking that if you were to take black and just put that over and make it a silhouette, that's the shape it is. And it's strong. Like this one, like
Yeah.
literally just boom, cover it up completely, make it a silhouette.
oh,
Boom,
okay.
That's it.
I see what
You
you
know,
mean.
that one.
Shape language, though.
Is that also shape language?
If you cover, that's why people do.
Yeah, I would say that's
Yeah.
still shape language.
All right, that's fine.
But I think you're seeing it more on different shape languages working together being defined as shape language instead of like one singular shape. But this artist definitely is what you're talking about, one strong shape overall.
Yeah.
I gotta see this because all I keep imagining is just like literally just squares and circles.
I mean, dude, break it down
Oh,
in your
no.
head. Literally break it down in your
Like-
head. It's literally just squares
Okay.
and circles and whatever.
No. I imagine y'all were looking at
It just like
just like one of
there's
those.
like a circle and a square. Yeah,
Our
yeah.
4 examples were circle, square,
Yeah.
triangle, rectangle.
I love the guy who just draws
Wow.
a circle and then the guy who drew a square.
But you go to like,
And then a
like,
triangle.
You go to like Hearts, and that's what they have, and you're like,
Oh yeah.
who paid for this? Like, what's going on?
I-
But
I kind of have a
Hearts
guilty
are
pleasure for that stuff. So
the giant
Everything can be broken down into a simple shape, and I think even with some of the stuff that I've done that I feel is the strongest, it literally feels like it's because of the shape that is underlying and is seen.
well, you got to think the shape is the actual backbone of your drawing.
It is.
That's what I
It's
was
like a
taught.
blueprint.
I was always taught that your shape and your line is basically your backbone. Actually, no, shape and composition are your backbone. And if those don't hold it together, and you just kind of put like this rendering, or you put this like type of weird lighting or anything like that, it's not gonna be as strong as it could because you don't have this strong backbone holding it up.
Very true. Very true.
My next one is all right. So my next one, I think her name is Fifi Roon.
Oh, I don't think I know this one.
But what her work is actually, I know I try to get better pictures, but what her work is or her name on Instagram is
Renovo.
but it's 0v0. So
Oh.
yeah, so sorry that it's kind of like that. So with that being said, once again, let's see if you guys can guess why I like this. It's a flow. It is a limited color palette, and she has strong shapes. And that's pretty much it, but I want to say that she uses line. Like, her lines, that bottom image is just all lines. But the one thing that's separating all of them is the red. So all the red is separating where, like, the objects are, and everything else around it are these white lines, these white swooping lines, or these white blue lines, to where you have this limited color palette, and it's just making just this beautiful, just flowing image. And it's awesome, honestly. I can't... She has some of probably the strongest lines I've ever seen, in a way. Like, strongest, like, flowing lines and, like, most confident repeating forms.
Yeah. These are great. I like these a lot.
They're super, super crazy flowy. And yeah, I remember I discovered her. That image right there, the one, the lumberjacks and everything, that one came up on my Pinterest, I think, like last year or something.
Good old Pinterest.
Yeah, that one came up there, and I fell in love with it because it was... She was telling a story, and she didn't need to use this crazy amount of color. She didn't need to use this. She didn't need to use this. And it's also saying there's nothing bad with using a crazy amount of color. It's just not me. So it's just... so, like, seeing this, and just seeing there's so much that you can do with just these two colors, this shape, and yeah, and then just flow. It's awesome. It's funny. Maria just said, "Oh, what a surprise! Sean likes the flow."
Yeah, right.
I can't deny it. I'm sorry.
All right, moving on.
All right, the next one is...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The next one, how do you pronounce it? Is it
I want to say
Villarte?
Villarte.
Yeah, I think it's Villarte or something like that. Yeah, their work showed up like very late in 2017 for me, but I instantly became obsessed with it. Once again because of flow. But they do everything in pencil, but they also have this like super strong sense of perspective and like what's the kind of the word? Just
It's loopy.
it's
It just feels
loopy
organic.
and it just feels organic, yeah, and it's great. And also too, the concepts behind it are really, really strong. Like there's a very intriguing story in what's going on in each of them.
This hand reminds me so much of Cynics.
Oh yeah,
I love when artists take realism and then make it their own. Like none of these proportions feel accurate to me at all, but they're accurate within the world that they've created. And it's just so strong. This is a confidence artist. That's how I would describe this type of art. Very confident.
The one thing that's cool too is that if you notice how they render out things, like they don't actually shade things. They make all of their shading with line.
Yep.
Everything is made like with a repeating line to where it's like, okay, I want it dark, so they bunch those together,
Very
or I
dense.
want it less, and then they just do that. But you can always see there's always that like that half circle or even like a quarter circle line that they use. And once again, it's flowy, and I just and I just very much love it. But finding that was another thing. Finding all these flowy artists only helped me in a way to where when I look at an object or I look at any type of thing and I want to render it out differently and how to create flow within that shape. So using these artists are just a really, really good influence and a really good stepping stone in that direction that I'd like to go to.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Villa Arte kind of became more popular last year because I found them last year too.
Yeah, they came out of nowhere, honestly.
And then all of a sudden when an artist starts to get popular, I feel like they get in the algorithm more and they get in other people's search. And then that's when I feel like collectively an artist may get popular. And I feel like this was definitely one of them, but very well deserved. Very well deserved. Okay, Sean's very last one.
I forgot what my last one was. Oh yeah, Aaron Horkey. Aaron Horkey is just a very strong technical artist. Like a very strong technical artist.
This one.
Yeah. So he does all his stuff with ink. Everything's done with ink. And if you go into it, like you can get lost. You can literally get lost in his use of texture, in his use of it's so good. I'm sorry. I can't even think. There's just so much detail and there's so many like repeating shapes of lines and everything that you go into it.
Yeah, the word I would say is precision.
Yeah. And I know that a lot of my list is just very technical heavy. But like I don't know, I like that stuff a lot. But yeah, just this stuff and everything that you see is just so like detail oriented, and like most of the time sometimes I think that there could be like an over amount of detail, but for some reason like when someone knows how to balance out their values to where they can balance them great, then you got it. You won. You did it. You know, so it's, you see this, and he's also another poster artist. He does for, you know, he works for bands and does promotional work and everything. And there's also, I mean, there also is a very strong sense of flow as well, but yeah, right? You know, yeah, it's a Jurassic Park poster. So, but seeing that is just, it's great. It's awesome.
Yeah. This is definitely one of those artists that it's hard not to appreciate the amount of technical ability they have, because the amount of time that goes into it, and it's the same reason I like Crayola too. You can just see the amount of time that's poured into it, and there's like a level of care and love. And as much as I can appreciate energy pieces and artists that are really good with really quick dynamic stuff, there's something about pouring time and effort into a piece that to me it reads patience. It reads a level of love in the piece. And like the top right one, this, I think, what is this, a crane?
Yeah.
What is this?
Some type of crane or goose or...
I can feel it. And I can not only just feel what the piece is saying in the composition, but what the artist is saying through their level of detail and sticking with it. I mean, all these stones, every single stone seems to have a little texture to it, a little
Yeah.
grime, and it's just quite gorgeous. So I actually did not know about this one, Sean. I didn't know this artist.
Yeah, Aaron Horkey is really, really awesome. And he's been doing this since, I don't know, like early 2000. And I just discovered him last year. And like, there's been a lot of like imitators of him. But when you go and actually look at his stuff,
sure.
it's just like they're so good. And it's all pen. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's all that little micron pen to where he goes in and he just does these little ticks and stuff like that. I got to think people, I got to think people are kind of crazy when it comes to that stuff.
There are so many people saying we should check out different people. We'll do that really quick, and then we'll end off the stream. I see. It was funny. I didn't know if we'd be able to fill out 2 hours today. Mm-hmm. And then, lo and behold, oh, I love D-Burn. Oh, sorry. I got really excited. Michael, yes. Dallas Rayburn, or D-Burn on Instagram. I love this artist. Mm-hmm. They take everything I like about art and flip it on his head and be like, no, you still like this. But this isn't rendered very completely at all. It's like specifically isolating a place to render, and then the rest of it leave as like the blueprint. Show the viewers what your initial sketch looked like and your finished product at the same time. Mm-hmm. I love this artist. And their soft contrast, sorry, I'm like goozing right now.
No, whatever you got to do, it's fine.
But I found this artist late last year. Probably would have made my top 9, but I really like the top 9 that I had. But like stuff like this, and Lost Line is something that I'm becoming more and more attracted to. Mm-hmm. I love this, especially when it's next to these harder shadow outlines. I'm in love with it. So yes, I do know D-Burn.
Oh yeah.
Sorry for my little outburst.
No, that's fine.
Did you? I know there's
other
more.
artists, yeah.
Keep messing with Instagram. It's amazing. It's my favorite platform to show my art.
Jace's actually said, wondering if you guys will link all the artists you on
I thought about
Discord.
it.
Yeah, we could do
What
it.
do you guys want me to do?
We know Lauren Marks. Lauren Marks is great.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Lauren Marks is
if you guys
wonderful.
Don't know Lauren
Again.
Marks, where's the one with the snake and the eggs? Or I probably won't be able to find it quickly. But yeah, this is one of those artists that it's hard not to appreciate or enjoy their work because of how technically strong. But for me, I feel like there's more than just a technical aspect. I do think the dead animals with things growing out of them has been a trend that has been popular the last year or two. So I kind of want them to explore more than just that. But I can't deny that I'm in love with this type of art.
Oh, yeah.
So I would definitely go give Lauren a check out as well.
And then also there's another one, which is Nico, I think it is. I also know his work as well.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. He does a lot of scratchboard stuff, and it's all very flowy and movie.
Oh,
and everything.
I know this one too.
Yeah, they're so great. Yeah.
It's funny how much I don't recognize names. Oh, that's so strong.
Right?
How much I don't recognize names, but I'll recognize art or I'll recognize usernames or like Instagram names. Yeah, it's another.
He did he actually did a tutorial at Light Gray Art Lab.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. It was also to Tigil. It is RUN0V0.
Yeah, I tried to put the lines in that to represent zeros.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, he did a tutorial on at like Gray Art Lab for like a scratchboard thing and like a demo and all stuff like that in front of people, and
I did not know that.
It was awesome.
So yeah, we'll do one more quick at your top 9.
So my top 9 is Beth Kavner, who's amazing, Erica Williams, our Hooky Duke, Ellen Jewett, Shane Ford, Melpa, got you on there, Nick Bibby, and then her name's Fifi Roan, but it's Ronovo, I think it is.
Roan 0 V0.
Yeah. And then Villarte, and then Aaron Horkey. Those are the guys I found last year, and I was just like, holy cannoli. These people are too good. I'm throwing my pencils away.
So I hope you guys may have picked up something from the stream, not only following some of the artists that we've mentioned, hopefully being inspired and check out some of their work, but also to see how different taste can be and how different interests can be and how much those can reflect in your work. Where I think a lot of people would think Sean would follow a lot of color pencil, or Key would follow a lot of digital, or I would follow a lot of graphite. You can see by what we've chosen, it wasn't purposely done to not pick
Yeah, no.
those expected things, but I hope it shows that you need to be diverse as an artist in thinking, because it'll really help influence your work. And the more diverse you are as an artist, I feel like the better work you'll create. And oh, thank you, Nico.
Hey,
Thanks for subscribing.
thanks.
I don't have the cauldron though for a nice little candy drop. We'll get something back up next week. But thank you. And Maria says, I have followed so many people because of the stream. And to be honest, that's the real reason I wanted, when I first suggested this to Sean, it was more or less to show our influences, because one, to be transparent and to show like this is what has inspired our work. And maybe you'll see the connections between a few of our pieces that we've done recently and the arts that we're showing. And also to give you guys hopefully some cool artists to follow as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Man, that was perfectly 2 hours. That was like the best timed stream I think we've ever had.
Was it really?
It just hit 4.
Oh,
right?
Look at that, guys.
Right. So I guess as a final thing, we are going to be doing a roommate stream next week starting at 12 p.m. So it's 2 hours earlier than when this one normally starts. Each roommate is going to get a half hour of time to create and fill in a shape. I have a feeling that we're going to have to create shapes for one another, which would be even more interesting.
Okay.
So we'll see how that goes. But then you'll get to meet all of the roommates, and hopefully we'll create some great work out of it. Hopefully you guys can follow along. I don't know if you need like a random shape generator. Oh, you know what we could do? I could have all the shapes ready by Tuesday night. I'll scan all of them, and then I'll give you guys a folder if you guys want to draw alongside us, and that way you have the shape. Oh no, it says we're offline.
Oh no.
Maybe it's just dropping.
Does it actually stop? Just say stop.
Oh no, we're good.
No, we're good.
So hopefully then you guys can draw alongside us, fill in the shapes, and see what you guys create. And also I think it'd be fun just to meet the personalities that we have living under one roof. So that's what we have planned for next week. Thank you so much for coming to our weekly Wednesday live stream.
Thanks for hanging.
And thank you, Key. She probably can't hear me, but
Thanks, Key.
for being a little special guest. Any last words, Sean?
Be inspired by everything. Seriously. Like, even if you think that you wouldn't be inspired by it, like with me, like with sculpture, like I didn't think I would have any interest in sculpture, but actually I follow a lot of sculpture people on Instagram. So yeah, be open to just being inspired by everything.
Agreed. And last question. Far Cry says, in case I'm not there for some reason, please convince Jonas to come to OhioCon, please. I will do my best. We'll see if I can make that happen. Maria says, bye. Thanks for awesome stream. Ones again, and have a nice day. Oh yeah, and my roommate Gabe, well, our roommate, I don't know why I say my roommate. Our roommate Gabe is now streaming on Galvasaur. We got a link from John, so if you want to go ahead and head over there, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, go check it out.
And he will be one of the artists working on next week, so you'll see him again.
Yeah.
Okay, take care everyone, and talk to you later. Bye. 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 Wait.
What are you doing?
Hey.
Oh, bye. Okay.